Hello and welcome back to the X-Files Revisited. We are on to episode 12 of season 6, which is One Son, which of course is the second part to Two Fathers, the previous episode. Big mythology episode. Again, I'd say this one's got some, huge ramifications as well.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah, definitely.
Big stuff in this one, I think. Really interested to see where you like. I can never read you on these mythology ones. Right. Okay. Where do you think this sits on IMDb? 217 episodes. Where do the fans have it?
But where did the last one land?
So Two Fathers. Two Fathers was at 32.
Oh, we'll go 28.
28. 14.
14?
14,
Bloody hell.
yeah. Yeah, this is almost touching top 10 level. And
you didn't let me finish.
I don't know that I'd quite go that. Yeah,
I was what I was trying to say before you so rudely cut me off was I said 28 and then half it, and that's what I'm going for.
Yeah. So I thought you meant that. What? Yeah. So very, very high indeed on there. It'd be interesting to see what your reaction to these episodes is if you knew these marks before you watched them.
I don't think they would influence me at all.
Would they not?
No, I think a higher an episode, the more I would be expecting for it, and I think it would probably maybe lower it for me. If you know what I mean. Like if I knew this was a 14 out of 217, I'd be expecting top tier, absolutely everything nailed.
Yes,
spot on details.
That's exactly what I'm talking about, though. That's why I say I would love to know what your reaction is if you knew the score going in. Because if I told you before we watched the episode, this is a 14, you're expecting one of the best episodes of the X-Files. I do wonder if you'd come out of this even more disappointed than. I mean, I don't know what your thoughts are on it, but would you be disappointed? Let's say you like this episode, but would you be disappointed if coming off the back of it, having known or having expected, this is a 14?
I'd be disappointed.
No,
I could tell you that right now. Like it's not one of the top 14 episodes for me.
Oh no, it's not one. Just laying cards on the table. I do think it's a great episode. I really do. But top 14? Come on.
Yeah.
No, we're not there. It is a great episode.
It's fine, but it's no Fearful Symmetry. Boss can.
So we open up on a burning photograph of Bill Mulder and Cancer Man. So this is the photo we saw in Two Fathers. We have a voiceover about war and sacrifice. I believe, is it Mulder? Mulder's doing the voiceover on this one. So we had Cancer Man. He was kind of doing not an interview, but we could see him talking to someone. But then that led into mostly him doing voiceover. So here we have Mulder doing voiceover, and he's. So if you remember, like last time, everything Cancer Man was talking about was really all about legacy. The legacy he leaves behind him, and for Cancer Man, that seems like that his legacy was in the work that he was doing with the syndicate and all that kind of stuff. Whereas, Mulder's voiceover talks about war, sacrifice, the things you have to sacrifice within log. And then we see an airplane hangar as this voiceover is going on, as the syndicate meet the alien greys, and that's what we see behind. If you're watching on YouTube, the thumbnail we've used, that's what you can see there is all the alien greys rocking up, meet the syndicate.
Yeah.
So this is the syndicate
and
back in.
Man. Yeah, Cancer Man is dangerously close to a mullet. I think at this point, it's
yeah, it's not great.
so...
It's like if this was done today, they'd use some kind of de-aging technology. Like you shows on Disney Plus, like your Marvel stuff, where they de-age them and stuff, and it'd look pretty good. Whereas here, it's like, what is it, 1947 or 48, so that kind of era. And yeah, it's basically just a bunch of old men in really dark haired wigs.
Yeah. And it's like, even looking at this image of the aliens, which is like in the TV show quite impactful, but like you kind of see this walking down the street, because most folk have got headphones on, and like when you're walking at night, this is just how they look.
Yeah. I hadn't twigged that one. I'm looking at that image behind us. It does just look like a bunch of dudes with headphones on.
Which it probably was, to be fair.
Just your average Friday night in Manchester city centre. Okay. So we get past the opening credits, and we have so if you remember, in the last episode, we had Mulder with his gun on Cassandra, because she'd forced him to put it on her. She's like, "Shoot me, you've got to kill me." And there's a banging on the door. It's like really over the top banging. Just makes you wonder why they didn't burst through sooner. But yeah, a hazmat team bursts in on Mulder, Scully, and Cassandra, led by none other than Diana Fowley, who we saw at the end of last episode seems to be in cahoots with Cancer Man.
Oh, yeah.
So they bust in and say it's a contagion of unknown origin.
Yeah.
It's at this point you're kind of wishing that Mulder would just pop a cap in Diana's ass, never mind Cassandra's. But yeah, so Mulder showers, as does Scully. They're checked over, very reminiscent of the sequence in Dr. No, when Fatty shower, supposed to have radiation on her, and they just shower him down. It's like, job done. Just wash that radiation off.
Yeah.
Mulder makes a joke.
Kind of like, there is like a weird barrier dividing the two of them, isn't there? Like, so they can't. Yeah, but like, it doesn't seem to be above head height. You know what I mean? Right? So, like Mulder with his angle can't see anything.
Mulder has the advantage. Mulder has the advantage.
You think so? I think Scully, because Scully is head above that. She can see everything. She turns away. I'm sure it's a disappointed look. She turns away and just
so
she should have said. I wish she said something like, "It must be the water must be cold in your side," or something.
Mulder makes some joke about there being no aromatherapy, and Scully works out, based on the time it took them to travel, that they're at Fort Marlene. And that's when Fowley enters and apologizes, as the two of them are getting dressed in their hospital scrubs, basically. Scully questions Fowley's motivations. She's not buying any of it. She says she's over the top. It's ridiculous. It was a ridiculous over the top reaction. And when Mulder kind of starts essentially saying, Scully, come on, cool down a bit. She basically just walks out. She's like, I'm not standing here listening to a defense of this woman that clearly.
Which again, it's like, why does Mulder not have red flags going off here? Why is he not questioning this? Because if in any other scenario, he would not buy this within a second, would he? He'd be off.
Yeah, I mean, to put it bluntly, he's thinking with his dick. I think because he's got previously romantic emotional ties to Fowley, I think he's letting that get in the way. Is that he's going off the person that he thought he knew way back when, not the person that she's become in all those years of being away. And I still don't quite understand it to this level, because the relationship he has with Scully is clearly much stronger than the one he has with Fowley. But Mulder follows Scully to the changing room. She all but calls Fowley out as a lying bitch. Mulder says Skinner backs up her story that it was Spender who made the phone call to the CDC, and we did see Spender. If you remember last episode, last thing we saw Spender do was going to the phone and picking up and dialing, and then we didn't actually get to see him. So, yeah, apparently it was Spender who called the CDC. She says Cassandra ran because she's sick of being experimented on. Mulder says she ran because she knows the experiments are finished. She's fun. Yeah.
She is Neo. Yeah.
She is Neo, yeah. We have that in every literary story, particularly fantasy and sci-fi, always ends up being on the chosen one, the one that's going to finish it all or whatever, but yeah. Krycek tells the Syndicate that Cassandra was a success and that the rebels didn't try to kill her. In fact, they kept her alive so that the truth would come out and the colonization would begin. Cancerman says they should let colonization begin so that they can save themselves and see their loved ones returned to them. Only thing, everything, from what I can remember, everything Krycek tells the Syndicate here, he told them last episode.
Yeah.
Like,
and if you remember right, they already knew that anyway.
Yeah.
So he's now just told them twice something that they already knew. Like this feels off to me. Like, why has Krycek got such command of the room? Like, there is no reason for it. He's pretty much nobody. He's their lackey. Yet he seems to be, I don't know, like standing up there and controlling everything. And you feel I feel he's got no power here in this situation. He's not the smartest man in the room. He doesn't know everything.
I agree, but I also, like I said last episode, I don't think that would stop him from trying to assert himself. This is a first grader trying to mix it large with a bunch of third graders. He's like, and they're tolerating him because they know he's not really a threat. It's just like, but he's useful. They keep him in the circle because he's useful as an errand boy, and because he's let in the circle as an errand boy, he tries to assert himself as more than that. And all it means is that he just ends up telling them stuff they already know, and it's embarrassing on Krycek's behalf, but not. It doesn't hit me as something that's weird in that sense. It hits me as something that I can see in multiple areas of life, people all the time. I don't see that it'd be any different. Yeah, I don't see that it'd be any different in a group like this. To be honest, you're always going to have that one guy in the room who is the bottom rung of the ladder. But yeah, like the interesting thing here is that Cancerman is pretty much all up for colonization. All he gives a toss about is saving his own ass, even if that means the rest of the entire planet getting killed or taken over or whatever. So,
which is weird because these guys look as if they've literally got like a small amount of years left. Yeah.
Yeah. So we see Mulder in clothes that are really way too small for him. Just basically the clothes that were given him from the military base. Just feels like someone's dicking him about. It's like you couldn't have got him the right size, surely. He calls to a very unhelpful woman, or female orderly, what looks like a female orderly. Then sees another woman and goes after her. So there's just this woman like roaming the corridors. And when he catches up to her,
so I found this really weird because they've given him clothes and then just said like just roam around. Like there seems as if it feels as if there's almost something missing there, where he's like snuck away, like looking at things, but no, they're just letting him wander.
That's not actually the weird bit to me. Like the Mulder roaming isn't the weird bit, because it is something he would do. Like, and one would assume if he gets to any point in the military base where he's not allowed to go, then there would be security there stopping him. So I'm assuming he is just roaming around bits that he is free to roam about. The bit that is weird to me is the fact that Marita Covarrubias is just roaming around free, like willy-nilly in this place. So she's looking really rough. She's clearly been experimented on. They've been doing all sorts of stuff on her with regards to the vaccine, testing the vaccine on her. She's been used as a lab rat.
Brian,
go on.
I didn't realise that was her.
No, piss off. You're joking. Stop taking the mick.
No, I just thought it was some weird girl that just had all this information. I had no idea that was her.
No, you're joking.
No.
I don't believe you. Come on, this is BS. Total
It's
BS.
not until you just said it there. No.
Are you having a laugh?
Man. Nope.
You're seriously telling me you sat through this whole episode and you didn't know that was Marita Covarrubias? What the hell is wrong with you?
I just thought she was some weird person that just had this information. Like, I really didn't.
Oh, for goodness sake. Does it make a few things a bit clearer for you?
It does now, yeah.
So obviously, Marita Covarrubias, last time we saw her, she'd had the oil slick thing kind of brought into her. So the syndicate obviously took her back, and they've spent many a month working on her with the vaccine, running tests, using her as a lab rat. And that's why later on in this episode, when Krycek sees her, he calls Spender a sorry son of a bitch, because if you remember, Marita betrayed Krycek the last time that they were together, because it seemed the two of them were kind of like a bit of an item behind closed doors, and she kind of gave up Krycek to well-manicured man. And so she has been in this base getting tested on, and the thing for me that is perhaps the weakest aspect of the episode is the non-explanation as to why Marita is just roaming these corridors. Especially given the fact that they now know that Mulder and Scully are in the building. So why isn't she in some more secure kind of wing to make sure that, she can't dish any dirt? But it's neither here nor there. For whatever reason, she's managed to get out and she's roaming around. Who knows? Maybe she heard that Mulder and Scully were there and decided to. But to me, it feels like there is a scene missing. It's not the scene in which Mulder gets out of the room. It's the scene in which Marita gets out of the room. I'd have liked to have heard a conversation where Marita is on a bed or something and she overhears that Mulder is there. And that's when she kind of gets out of the room, goes a bunk, tries to find him. But anyway, missing scene aside, she's been used as a lab rat for the vaccine, intended to fight the colonists, and Cassandra scuppers it all. The fact that Cassandra is a success scuppers it all, which again we kind of already knew, but this is sort of like confirmed information for Mulder. This is like confirming what he suspected. Cassandra is in a hospital bed inside the very same facility that they're on. So they've basically all just been brought to that same facility. Spender enters with Fowley and tells his mum that he's the one who had her brought there to protect her from his father. And she tells him he must let them destroy her. To which, he just ignores her and leaves. He's like, because obviously he's not going to kill his own mum.
Yeah. Great. Two people I don't like.
Oh man. So lone gunmen. We get the lone gunmen.
Hey.
Scully goes to the lone gunmen, not Mulder. So it's very rare that we get Scully going to the lone gunmen, but she does. And she asks them to research Fowley. Or she has asked them to research Fowley. And they basically say that, she's been in counter-terrorism. There's no info on the work that she did. But there were weekly trips to MUFON, the Mutual UFO Network, collecting data on abductees. Mulder tells her she's making it personal. And she says, without the FBI, that's all she has. And it's, I feel like Mulder ain't making it personal enough, quite frankly. He's putting the blinkers on at this point. It's like, are you for real, Mulder? It's like, Scully's got evidence there that Diana Fowley has been keeping tabs essentially on all the people in in MUFON, the organization that any time they crop up, that the syndicate are not far behind. They've got some kind of dealings going on. They're not even just slightly suspicious of Diana.
Yeah, I find this very strange because there is so much evidence and they put it forward in a really structured manner. Like, this is logical, this is the facts, this is what's been happening. There's a little bit of conjecture, but they build up a great argument. And I have seen Mulder go off in some weird tangents with nothing more than an elf's fart. He just he's changed something like this never heard of. Yet all these facts and he's still just like, no. This frustrates me, this kind of like these moments of Mulder, like someone that's so is happy to jump on almost anything, and then giving this information, he's just like no. It's weird.
I mean, that's certainly his body language. Anyway, his body language is that I'm not down with this, but cue next scene. And we go to the water. I mean, if ever there was a dead giveaway that someone's dodgy, staying at Watergate. You're not dodgy at all. Where are you staying? Oh, I'm in the Watergate apartments. All right, okay.
Yeah, what I'll do is I'll break into your room with some flashlights and have a look around then.
Yeah, so Mulder goes to Diana's apartment in the Watergate building, lets himself into a room, snoops around, and that is when none other than Cancer Man himself enters the room. And if that isn't, it's like, come on, Mulder, just... Mulder puts his gun on Cancer Man. Cancer Man says he was looking for his son, who has betrayed him and has now taken up Mulder's cause. He tells him that Mulder's cause is wrong, and that Mulder is wrong about his father. Each member of the syndicate gave up their loved ones to forestall the alien invasion and one day have them returned. Mulder calls him a liar, says his sister was taken from their home. Cancerman says that's because Bill realized too late that the only way to save everyone was to go along with it all. But with Cassandra alive, it's now too late to stop colonization. He hands Mulder a piece of paper and tells him to save himself. The piece of paper, we will later learn, has an address on it, which is a military airbase hangar. But yeah, a big information dump there. But the key take.
This is great stuff. It's great. It's great information that kind of adds more to sort of Bill Mulder as well as the situation. It's kind of leaning towards what we thought, where there's kind of sacrificed family members for this kind of process, which I think is just a horrible ideal. To go like, we'll give away something we completely love to succumb to some other race, almost, which is pretty much what they're doing.
Yeah.
So
it's basically what is it you call it? On the aliens' behalf, it's a bargaining chip. It's like, look, you give us the thing you love most, and that'll show us that we can trust you to follow our plans, to prepare the plans we have laid out for you. And it's just, I mean, it's a horrible choice. But if you were in that inner circle, what choice would you have? I mean, the only other option I can imagine really is just trying to go to the press, scream to the world, scream to anyone who listen exactly what's happened. But given what we know of this group of people, I think you would find yourself very quickly silenced, if not dead. So it's just like, horrible choice. And from Mulder's perspective, could that be a forgivable act? Could he forgive his father for having made that choice and done that to his sister? But yeah, pretty hard stuff. And again, as well, the fact that Cancer Man allows Mulder, or affords Mulder, the opportunity to save himself by being at this location where everything's going to kick off. Very telling.
I think it shows like Cancer Man's, it's getting to the end game.
Yeah.
But there's a dubiousness of where things are going to go. And it almost feels that Cancer Man's edging his bets just a little bit. Just, he's giving Mulder the address just in case things don't plan out the way they're expecting it to be. Can you imagine this? 50 years in the planning and it all goes to pot.
Your whole life's just to crap. Bollocks.
Goes to ashes. Yeah.
Yeah. Spender finds the syndicate's offices empty, save for Krychek, who tells him they're not coming back. They've gone to West Virginia to prepare for colonization, except Cancer Man, who's gone to collect Sandra, which is something of a surprise for Spender. But yeah.
And only Spender. Like, he's the only person surprised by this.
Yeah, I love that, and this feeds exactly into what we were saying before with regards to Krychek and the syndicate. He is the little man in the room. He isn't privy. He isn't a part of the syndicate. They basically abandoned him. He was in that room with them, but they've all buggered off now, and he's just left in that room there, and it's just like, okay, so what are you doing, Krychek? What's your goal from here on out? But doctors come in and drug Cassandra. Then Cancer Man comes in and wants to talk about the future, as if they have a future together. He says he did what he did to save her and Jeffrey. She says the only way to save anyone is to kill her, but he can't do it, and he just walks out. So, yeah.
Yeah. Again, this was it's not like a saving grace, but it's like that one line that he can't cross.
Yeah.
Which kind of, there is a small bit of humanity still left in him somewhere.
Yeah, lingering like a bad smell somewhere within his personage. Yeah,
like an echo of humanity. It's just
yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's good to see. It humanizes him in the smallest of possible ways, but
yeah.
So Fowley gets. I mean, I also think it's symbolic of his guilt. He's he's still done an awful lot to this woman, which, quite frankly, some might say it'd be better to have died than to have been put what she's been put through. And I think part of his kind of thinking of not being able to go the whole way and kill her is just the level of guilt with which he's weighed down on. Fowley gets home, finds Mulder waiting for her. He tells her his fight, and now Spender's, is futile because sometimes the only way to save the ones you love is to give up. She takes the piece of paper from his hand, which reads El Rico Air Force Base, says that's where they need to be if they are to survive it, kisses him, then looks really shifty. It's. I feel like she takes that paper from him, and she knows it was meant for her, because Cancer Man went to her apartment.
Yeah.
He already had that piece of paper in his hand, so clearly he was going to give it to her, but instead he gave it to Mulder. So I think she was expecting a visit from Cancer Man because, so that piece of paper was meant for her, not for Mulder. That's my belief. Anyway, she knows that, hence the shifty look on her face. She knows what's about to go down, which is alien colonization. So she's like, right, I need to get going. If I want to save my own ass here, I need to get going to El Rico Air Force Base. What do you feel about Mulder's kind of attitude here? It's almost like he's surrendered.
Yeah, I feel like he's not questioning enough things in my mind. There's lots of things being presented in front of him, and he seems to, like, this Diana character just seems to shut him down in so many ways, and I just don't like it. You feel like this guy should be asking more questions, especially now, because everything seems to be ramping up.
Yeah. It's not premium Mulder, is it?
No.
But it does seem to have quite a defeatist attitude here. It's almost like he's just accepted that, colonization's about to kick off and I can't do a damn thing about it. So oh well. It's like, Mulder, get off your ass. Yeah. So Spender finds his mum gone, but Marita Covarrubias, we all know Marita Covarrubias, don't we, is there and asks for help. She wants to get out of this place, if it's the last thing she ever does.
Which makes a hell of a lot more sense, because I'm just like, who is this? Why the hell does she want out? What information does she know? How does anybody trust this person who we've just met?
Yeah. Makes sense now, yeah. So she recognizes him and says he knows where and how they are taking her.
She says that to him because he's looking for Cassandra.
Yeah.
She knows where Cassandra's been taken.
Yes, that's it. Yeah. I put says he knows where rather than she knows. So says she knows where and how they are taking her. Which obviously is in Spender's best interest. So scientist retrieves the purity control fetus only to be killed by a rebel. So you'll remember purity control all the way back from the Erlenmeyer flask. This is the Erlenmeyer flask, which contains the little alien fetus, is basically the tissue sample that was given to them by the colonizers for them to be able to work on this this virus thing. So it was so that they could work on the virus that was going to spread the alien parasite, but they used it instead. Well, alongside the virus, they used it to try and create this vaccine. So, now an alien rebel has gone in and taken it. basically.
Yep.
Mulder rings Scully to tell her he's coming for her. She says she's coming for him, and that Spender called to tell her where Cassandra is being transported by rail. Mulder leaves Diana to go on ahead without him. So he'll be thankful of that shortly.
Oh, yeah.
Mulder and Scully try to stop the train that is carrying Cassandra and the alien rebel.
Can I just say, one of my favourite moments in the entire episode here, Mulder shooting at a speeding train. Yeah. And even more surprisingly, hits it, which
still doesn't do anything though, because it's a train. You ain't slowing that thing down with a bullet, I'm afraid. You're gonna need a rocket launcher to stop that thing. But so the syndicate arrives at El Rico Air Force Base. Nothing too drastic there. They just all rock up. A lot of things happening now. Like it's loads of like little scenes where we're just going here, we're going there, we're going here, we're going there. So it's Skinner
building up.
Yeah, Skinner picks up Mulder and Scully from the train track. Sandra arrives at El Rico along with Cancer Man. Where's Krychek? That's what I'm asking. Like, where's Krychek? Why isn't he there? He's looking for purity control, as it happens.
Yeah.
So he goes to the same place where the scientist got killed by the rebel. He pulls out. He sees the canister basically, and he lifts it up. He sees that the alien fetus is gone, and he is proper pissed. So clearly that was Krychek's plan. He was going to stay behind, get the alien fetus, and then he'd have everything that he'd need to presumably to take back to Russia, so that the Russians could carry on with their stuff. So Spender stops Krychek on the way out, says he needs help to get Marita out of the building. Krychek calls him a sorry son of a bitch, and you can see from his body language, assuming you know that this is Marita Covarrubias, then Krychek's body language basically screams that, what are you doing with this woman? This woman is a waste of your time. She's screwed me, and I got no love for her. You're a sorry son of a bitch for even wanting to help her. So I think he sees a little bit of himself in Spender. He sees Spender now getting taken in by Marita in the same way that he was once taken in. So that's why he calls him sorry son of a bitch, I think. And he says it's all going to hell. The rebels are going to win. They took it. So the rebels took purity control. So Fowley arrives at El Rico. Cancer Man walks over to her, and then the doors begin to open. Cancer Man and Fowley drive away as the alien rebels bust in and kill every last one. So all the syndicate wiped out in one fell swoop. Now
it's a very ominous sequence. Like the whole, like the command just slowly surrounding them. They're like, why does nobody make a break for it?
I know. Well, they're all old, aren't they?
Yeah, I suppose.
So Cancer Man and Fowley only managed to get away because they're kind of not too far away from their car and they're separate from the rest of the group. So they just kind of go, okay, back to the car. And then they're up.
Nope.
Yeah, no thanks. Now, I will just call back to something I said back when we reviewed the movie, which is, if you looked at the movie, Armin Mueller-Stahl, who was in that, he played one of the syndicate members, and he seemed to be the chief syndicate member. He seemed to be the one who called most of the shots. Yeah. And I always thought, why did they never bring him back for the show? I mean, I know he's probably a higher paid actor and that, and they got him for the movie. It might be a bit too much to get for the show, but they never kind of brought him back in the show. And you have to assume, even though you don't see him here, that he is amongst this bunch, because this is basically all the syndicate that have arrived to the final plan. So that's it. Syndicate gone. No more syndicate. All the plans gone to naught. Basically, pissed up the wall by the alien rebels. So Spender calls a meeting with Kirsch and has a very redemptive moment, I would say. There's just no warmth in your heart, is there? Your cold Scottish heart.
Nope.
It's like, I'm throwing Spender a bone here. Right? I don't care. I'm throwing him a bone. I think he goes out on a winner, which is basically essentially giving a screw you to Kirsch and saying the best thing you can do is put Mulder and Scully back on the X-Files because
because he's useless.
Yeah, essentially. Says the burned bodies at the hangar are his fault. He basically take the blame for it because he never treated the X-Files the way they should have been treated. So the best thing Kirsch can do is reinstate Mulder and Scully, and he pats Mulder on the shoulder and walks out to go pack up his office. His father waits for him and shoots him dead.
Fingers crossed. Here's hope. Yes.
Come on, man.
Which is good because I feel as if it's like a nice, like it's been a long, arduous, like 2 episodes, so it's nice to get a happy ending.
I think it's a nice moment. I think that moment of patting Mulder on the shoulder as if to say, all in one gesture. 1, I'm sorry, and 2, you were right, and 3, how about it? Take your rightful place. But I think it's a nice moment. I think it's a redemptive moment. It does enough for me to say that was a good end for the character. But yeah, wrap up.
I mean, I like most of this episode. There's certain things I just can't get my head around. Like the fact that Krychek seems to have so much power. He seems to be in control, or he seems to have his own game going on and allowed so much freedom, because he's shown before that he's a snivelling snake of a man who's out for his own thing. So why are the Syndicate even allowing him that kind of space?
Keep your friends close and keep your enemies closer.
Yeah, but I mean, he's not like he would turn his back on anybody for anything. He's like not trustworthy, and he doesn't seem to have much use. Like really, I mean, he can't even clap. I think
no, but he can kill an alien rebel with one hand. So.
He can. It has a weird magic trick, but it's impressive. We get a little bit of Cassandra, a little bit of Spender in this episode. I really enjoyed seeing them leave. I can't stress that enough. Goodbye, good riddance. I hope they never come back. Like, if they do, that episode will be losing a star immediately just for having them. I feel like we've came to the end of an era. This almost feels, like I don't know if it's going to have a new beginning. How the mythology is going to take shape going after this, it seems a little bit weird. I always think about the rebels and how they're almost portrayed as the bad guys throughout it, and I'm like, are they the bad guys? Like aren't they stopping the aliens from colonizing other worlds? Like,
yeah. I don't look at the alien rebels as the bad guys. Obviously, the Syndicate obviously would see them that way, and people like Krychek, because they're scuppering their plans and getting in the way. But you could also look at. Well, no, I just don't see them as the bad guys. I just see them as like interfering.
I don't see them as the bad guys, but they're almost portrayed like that, you know, with the kind of
Mhm.
horrifying visage that they have of the eyes being
Yeah.
sewed shut and the mouth being sewed shut, and just every time you see them, they're killing somebody. You know, it's just like you never just see them like having a coffee and a chit chat or anything. No, they're just killing somebody. Which I liked most of this episode. There are some things that the mythology episodes, they don't seem to hit as hard with me as any other episodes do.
Mhm.
You know, you give me a great monster of the week and I'm like, oh, this is fantastic. You give me like an overarching mythology story and I'm like, cool. And this one again was cool. I enjoyed it for the most part. It's much the same as the first episode for me. I'm going to go with a 4 out of 5.
Yeah, it's much the same as the first episode for me as well. I'm going to go with a 4.5 out of 5. The stuff with Cratchit really doesn't bother me at all. I think I've explained why enough as to why that doesn't bother me. My biggest bother in this episode is literally, why is Marita Covarrubias roaming the halls of that military facility? Where she's clearly someone that they've been testing on. She's, if she got out, it could be very sticky for them. So I don't get why she's just randomly roaming the halls of that military base. Other than that, everything else that's going on in it, I really love. It's fast-paced. It's quite frenetic. There's a lot of action going on. A lot of our main characters involved. And we go out on what is quite a big moment, which is, okay, the entire syndicate, save for Cancerman and Cratchit, has just been wiped out. All their plans have just been wiped out. So what does that mean going forward? Where do we stand with the alien colonists? Where do we stand with the rebels? What's Cancerman's purpose going to look like going forward? So that it really does kind of totally shift the balance of power and everything that's going on. So, yeah, 4.5 out of 5. Me, definitely not number 14 of 217 episodes, but still a really strong two-parter.
Yeah. Okay, so next episode is Aguamala. Tell me a little bit about that one.
Honestly, I can't remember a right lot about it, but if my memory serves me correct, I just remember it being quite dull.
Okay, right.
It's a Monster of the Week episode. Mulder and Scully get brought onto a case by none other than Arthur Dales. I don't know if you remember Arthur Dales.
Oh yes, Travellers.
Yeah, Travellers. That's right. So he returns.
I remember him.
Yeah. He returns to put Mulder and Scully onto a case. Now that, to me, as a setup, is very intriguing. Oh, that'd be cool. I want to see the return of Arthur Dales. But from what I remember about it, it was just quite dull. It mostly takes place in like a rainy apartment building during a storm, and I just don't remember it being that interesting. But we'll see. I could be wrong.
Okay. Well, for all the people out there, if you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to like. If you're listening to your podcast service, a 5-star review would be fantastic. Allow other people to discover us, and we'd appreciate that. And we'll see you next week for Aguamala.